A lot of young men. First and foremost, though, we want a good clean start and none of the excitement we had off the grid here last time.
Well, big pressure for these young guys, but also big opportunity to make a mess of it. And you know, we're on TV, there's a crowd here in the grandstand.
Grosjean, current GP2 Asia Series champion, alongside him David Valsacchi of Durango, Kumi Kobayashi, the Toyota test driver, alongside Luca Filippi, and then Ben Hanley and Hoping Tung, Andy.
But behind him we've got Alvaro Parente, a driver who has done...
The series is either a help or it's a hindrance. It's a help because you've been racing recently. It's a hindrance because you've been racing the old car, not the new chassis, which is a far more improved version.
Well, we discussed this a minute ago, and you know, I think the drivers that are fresh from the Asian Championship, they've done 10 race starts, they've done 10 first laps of a race, they've picked their way through the traffic into turn one 10 times already this year, and guys like Andy Zuber could well be a little bit ring rusty.
Riding with Sebastian Buemi at the moment in the Arden car. Just talking about those starts, Romain Grosjean before the pit lane was closed.
Hurrying time, the team had to plug in their laptops, and here we are on board with Romain Grosjean. Yeah, he stalled the car in the pit lane, and it took about 5 minutes to get him restarted and back out to rejoin on the grid. So he is there, he is going to start the race. A great car under him during the Asian Championship. This year the challenge for the teams and drivers is to get on top of developing a brand new car with next to no time. As we heard before the race, half an hour free practice, half an hour qualifying, and now here we are.
And it's not even a full half an hour as well, because you've got to think, well, do I try a setup for the race and see? There's no point second guessing, because this is a brand new season and a brand new series and race for the 13 team.
On even further on somebody like perhaps a pole sitter who hasn't started a race for some time, and you know, well, we'll see. Turn one could be quite interesting with this additional pressure.
What about someone like your man, like Bruno Senna? You're quite close to Bruno in terms of an advisory capacity. We should always remember a lot of expectation on his shoulders, but it's only his fourth full season.
There's someone that's perhaps getting a little bit edgy, having to do an extra formation lap. He was obviously very pleased with pole position, did a very good job to snatch pole position yesterday, but that's not the sort of performance a Formula One team principal would be too impressed by.
Absolutely. To go back to Bruno Senna, we were talking his race in Dubai was odds on for a victory there until the team, well, they got the tyre change all wrong.
Well, yeah. Mistakes happen, strategic mistakes happen, but yeah, the last GP2 race 2 weeks ago, Bruno Senna was leading by about 12 seconds, by a mile. So he's full of confidence. He knows he can be quick. The other guys around him, immediately around him, Parente, Maldonado, Zuber, those three making a place like that.
Not surprised, riding with Romain Grosjean right in the middle of the pack at the moment to the ART, and has had a bit of smoke coming from the car in front of him to complete, because we take one off for the formation lap, and there's Grosjean just struggling a little bit with the handling of that ART at the top of the hill, turn 9, goes up alongside the Pantano in the car in the Campos there, but he's gone wide, trying to get round.
It's quicker than Andy Zuber's car, so making up a little bit for their lack of a great pit stop 2 weeks ago. They've made a place up for Bruno Senna. Bruno's car had left the pit box. Kurun Chandok was ready to slot in there and get his tyre stop, but he will have been delayed slightly, having to queue up like that. He's down there in 9th place though, so he hasn't lost out too much.
Yeah, Rodriguez replacing Andy Susek in a team that almost didn't have 2 cars running in this race this weekend. Susek a little unhappy that his contract had been terminated, especially as he was owed money, he said, by the team. Went to the Spanish courts, who said, yes, you should be racing and will impound the car until you get that chance. Well, actually, Susek was told his contract was under attack. What happened with Mike Conway and Hoping Tung?
Well, basically the same corner, same incident, taking out the 2 British drivers, so not a great corner for Great Britain in the GP2 Championship, but the race carries on, well, almost. Still under the safety car, still got to tidy away any debris, any cars in the runoff areas to maintain safety. And the great news about these cars, and these are quick racing cars with young drivers driving, that we're racing on Grand Prix circuits with a lot of safety, a lot of runoff areas.
The benefit in Barcelona. Riding now in the midfield. what looks like Romain Grosjean in the ART, running in 10th spot as they head past the grandstand and down towards turn 1 back for the man drafted in for the DPR team to replace Michael Herc, who misses the first few races. A replay now, Romain Grosjean down the inside, almost coming to grief, almost touching wheels with Karun Chan. Back to Andy Zuber in third, Giorgio Pantano still runs fourth, Adrian Valles runs fifth, Sebastian Buemi running in seventh, Romain Grosjean right behind him, and that gap still 0.3 of a second. But hey, look at it on the screen instead. It's what, a car length and a half at best. And they close down into the corners. Grosjean might fancy his chances under a bit of braking. Up the two hairpins, and then turn 1, they went through the chicane. Grosjean right up the back now of the Red Bull sponsored Arden car. This the final turn. You can see the grandstand on the left-hand side. Great view as we ride in the ART car. Will Romain Grosjean have enough under brake?
New chicane, the penultimate sequence of corners, does now give the drivers a chance to be a bit closer as you come onto the start-finish line. That's his best opportunity.
Still don't like it though. Prefer the old one without the chicane, but you're not wrong. Yeah, that's progress for you, isn't it? As Grosjean pulls out to the left-hand side.
Whoa.
And can he get past on the inside? No. Buemi just closes the door. No way past that time, but that's the second lap in a row that Buemi has rather left the door open at the Welcome back to Barcelona, and this is still the battle that is engaging most of us here at the Spanish Grand Prix weekend. Romain Grosjean, and ahead of him Sebastian Buemi, and ahead of him Adrian Valles, as it has been for the last 6 or 7 laps. Behind them, 7th and 8th, Buemi and Grosjean. And he just can't quite get close enough in the ART. Can Grosjean?
Well, your best opportunities for overtaking are immediately after a restart, or at the start of a race, or towards the tail end of a race, when a car before you or after you is
has enough pace to keep Grosjean at bay. It's whether he makes a mistake or not. But let's see a replay of the Petrov move on Valles.
Well, we're on board with Adrian Valles, and he was slow onto the straight. What pace he's actually got. Here we are on board again with Sebastian Buemi, looking back at Romain Grosjean. Didn't manage to pull off the manoeuvre, but it had distracted Buemi. It was what had been well, on the verge of happening for the last few laps. He's slightly overshot the corner, ran wide. He's now got a load of dirt on his tyres, struggling for grip in turn 3, running wide, struggling for momentum, and Romain Grosjean just easily able to actually out-accelerate Sebastian Buemi out of turn. Information we have on the screens here, the wind has actually turned 360 degrees during the course of the race.
Riding with Romain Grosjean again, and in front of him this time is Adrian Valles, and he's caught up with Valles very, very quickly indeed, going through the chicane to end another lap here. And let's just see what Grosjean can do down the main straight. The difference was 2.2 seconds 2 laps ago, and Grosjean, well, he might have this nailed. Good toe, pulls over to the left-hand side. Valles left in his wake.
Issue, and well, as you can quite clearly see there, the guy's in a lot of pain at the moment.
That's Romain Grosjean getting past Vitaly Petrov, or almost getting past Vitaly Petrov, and then finally getting past Vitaly Petrov with their opening day's campaign. Running now with the only Arden car still left in the race, and the only Fisichella Motorsports car still left in the race as well. Sebastian Buemi and Adrian Vaez, and Buemi at the moment in 8th place. He'll start on pole in tomorrow's sprint race, but I think he fancies a couple of points as he pulls out to the right-hand side under braking. Can he squeeze past? No, he was just a bit too far back, and Vaez defending. Buemi has a look on Vaez. No room this time. The Japanese driver will be nipping straight in there. Up the hill they go. Turning right, that's turn 9 where some of the drivers have been. Let's go back on board with Romain Grosjean. He did clout the curve.
I'm sure he's really going to be gunning for that 8th place position.
Buemi had another look there, didn't he, on Vaez. The sound of the 4-litre V8 Mechachrome engine. That's a fantastic rasping noise it makes too. Around the hairpin, can he squeeze past? No. Buemi had carried on with that, he'd have come to grief, so well backed off there, but he is certainly giving Adrian Vaez a spot of bother here. Maybe into turn 10 he's going to make a move again. Up the hill they go.
To get an overtaking manoeuvre done here in Barcelona.
Right, how's Sebastian Buemi's traction in the Arden car? Pulls out to the right-hand side. This time, I think he's got Adrian Vaez. Pastor Maldonado's tyres haven't been looked after that impressively, and maybe he's struggling for a bit of grip now as well.
Well, when you're racing as hard as he's had to, you know, trying to...
Between now and the end of the race itself.
Well, on board with Vaez now. This is the earlier overtaking from Sebastian Buemi. Again, you can just see